Hey guys, my name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. And as we approach the Thanksgiving season, we also approach the giving season. Black Friday is just around the corner. And giving gifts is awesome. I enjoy giving gifts, but I wanted to give you 3 things that you could give to your kids that aren't monetary. They're not something you can go to the store to get. And the first one is, and I think this is very important, is that I want you to give them some of your past. And not just your past that's curated to make everything seem good. I want you to give them your past failures. I know as parents, we don't always want to paint the picture that we did bad things when we were younger. And I don't mean bad, but just like we were, I don't know, we just got in trouble and we just did things that our parents probably weren't happy about. And I do think this is age dependent, but I was having I took my kids to a haunted house, and they had some of their friends with them, and they were asking me questions because I grew up with their parents and my friends' parents, and they would say, "Dad, did you ever do this or that?" And I realized I probably hadn't spent a whole lot of time telling them about the negative experiences in my life. I think we warn our kids a lot, like, don't do this, stop doing this, and we probably have a very good reason. It was because I saw someone do this, but we won't always share that. I had friends when I was, and this is one of the stories I told, that when I was 14, they all started smoking, all of them. And it was, and thankfully I didn't get involved. I was actually it was very easy for me not to. I really had no desire whatsoever to smoke. I just didn't. But I explained to them what happened. Then they said, "Well, didn't their parents know?" I'm like, I don't know how they didn't know, because they smelled. And we went in and I got to talk to them, like, is smoking a big thing right now? They're like, "No, but vaping is. Vaping's a big deal." And we got to talk about it. And, my kids are in their, teenage years, 15, 16, and it was a good conversation. And I think they got to see me as maybe just a little bit more human and less as parent or adult. And so I was able to do that. I talked to them about some, interesting, dating as a teenager and what that meant, and the different, what we, where we went and the kinds of things we did and the kinds of trouble we got into. And I just thought that was a very, very good thing to share my failures. I talked about school. I did really well in parts of school. I think I was good in science. I was okay in math, but like for spelling, I literally would be in tears the night before a spelling test because I couldn't do it. Like I would not register to me. I don't know why we spell things the way we do. I still don't know. I am so thankful for spell check. It's the only reason I write professional looking emails whatsoever, is because spell check fixes it for me. And I was able to share that with my kids when they're struggling. Hey, it's okay. Like, this was me. Look, I am a functioning adult. I have a job. I have responsibility. I make okay money. I do things, and I don't need to know how to spell. And it's okay because my kids struggle with that. So share your failures. Share your failures in, and like making judgment calls. I had an experience at work where I saw police brutality, and it was like, looking back, I didn't register it as that, and I didn't say anything. I had a moral failure where I saw something that was not appropriate, and out of just, I don't even know why I wouldn't report it, I didn't. And it was bad, and I failed morally. Like, I think giving them access to your failure, and again, age dependent, right? And, I don't think you need to tell them everything you did. I look back at my parents, and I thought my parents probably had a pretty awesome upbringing and nothing bad. And it was like, when I got into my 20s, I found out my mom did drugs. Like, that's crazy, Mom. I know she's listening. I apologize, but she said it out in public. So, it was the 70s, like, and she was going down a pretty rough road. Thankfully, she found Christ, and, she changed directions. But to be able to open their mind to, okay, my parents are just normal. And like, when I think about now, I remember my dad's 40th birthday, and I'm now 44. And I remember what he was like and I'm his age. Like, and it was just, I think it was very helpful. So one of the things you can give your kids, it's not a gift, not a monetary thing, not something you go to the store, is give them your past failures. I think that's important. Another thing that I think is very important is to give them your heritage. Give them the sense of who they are, who their family is. My kids don't really remember my grandparents. It would be their great-grandparents. But I don't know all the stories, but I like to share those stories with them. It's their heritage. I was telling my kids about my grandpa Mac, how he went to, when he went to World War II, he was like 6'3". He weighed like 130 pounds. He had a dad that died of tuberculosis. He had brothers that were in the TB ward. His mom was a day laborer. She just made enough money for the day. And he went to Paris, or he went to France on the Queen Mary, which was the sister ship of the Titanic, with 15,000 people, and how he left at 130 pounds. And 2 years later, when he came back, he was like 175. And his mom's like, "Oh my word, you've never been this big. How do you go to war and gain weight?" And he's like, "It's the first time in my life I've ever had 3 meals a day," because he was a depression baby. Share that with them. Share those past history, the things that they overcame, because that's who they are. Share the things that your family stands for. I had a really cool experience, and I guess this will be a little braggy, but my son, he goes to a Christian school, and there's kids that go to all different kinds of churches, and he got invited to a youth group at another church, and they were doing a scavenger hunt where they had to get in the car and drive and go find, talk to a policeman or get a picture with someone in a red dress, whatever. So there's a lady, and Levi knows some of the kids. They're getting in his car, and he's going to drive them. And it's the mom of one of the girls that's getting in the car. And she said, she doesn't know my son from Adam. She goes, "Are you a good driver?" And somebody else said, "He's a Dumas." And she said, "Oh, okay." Man, like that made me, in my family, I feel like I was very proud of that something about my name, and it's not just me, my parents and my sisters, we've all contributed, hopefully, to being good people, honest people. And the fact that my son could kind of take that and go, "Oh, I'm a Dumas." And because of that, I have a heritage of doing this, and this is the day-to-day stuff. This is not really something you can just sit down and share with them. You have to live this. To me, I'm going to do the right thing. And that might be something as simple as you're going out to the grocery store and you realize, I didn't pay for the 12 pack of Coke that's at the bottom of the cart. You have two options. Obviously, you can get in your car and leave. It was a very honest mistake. You weren't stealing it. Or you could make a point and go, "Levi, Lucia, Matilda, look what we did. We accidentally took this. What do you think we should do? What's the right thing?" And hopefully they'll say, "Hey, we should take it back." And then you get to do that, and you get to have this moment of like, this is who we are. We are honest people. We are people that do the right thing. I share, like, we're competitive. When my family gets together, whether we're playing tic-tac-toe, ping pong, video games, we're going to win, and we want to win, and we want to have fun doing it. We're competitive. I want my kids to know that we do hard things and all these things. Share those things with your kid and actually point it out when you're doing something that as a family is important. Like, we eat together. We're not, if we're all home together, we're not separating. We're not sitting on the couch eating. We're going to go sit at the table, and this is what we do. And you just can't, I think doing it's helpful, but actually saying, this is what we do. This is who we are. This is our heritage. Share your heritage. Share the heritage of your family. Tell the stories of when you were going through a hard time. We had a house fire, and we tell them, like, we had a rental house, and we almost got kicked out of a hotel because all the kids were too bad. Like, share these stories. Your kids want to know. They want to have something grounding them to say, like, this is who I am. I'm a Dumas, or I'm a Smith, or a Johnson, or whatever your last name is. Give them that possession that they are somebody, and that family means something. That is so important. And the last thing I think you can do, I call it brainwashing, because that's what it is. You speak life into your kids. Every night before we go to bed, every night at home, we read a book. We Lucia brushes her teeth. She goes to the bathroom, and we lay down, and I read a book. And I put my arm around her. We shut the lights off. She says her prayers, and she doesn't want me to do that. Every night, she thinks I'm going to forget. I say, I'll wait sometimes till she's almost asleep and go, "Lucia." She goes, "What?" I'm going, "You're going to do great things." She goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to forget. Why didn't you forget?" Because she's annoyed because I say it every single night. You're going to do amazing things. You're going to do great things. And then I teach them how to do it. We had a routine when we go to school. I'll ask them, "How do you do great things?" And there's a list that they say out loud. And I know they think it's cheesy. I know they think it's annoying, but I think it's so important. The list is: be comfortable being uncomfortable. Be a giver. Put God first. Don't be afraid to fail. And they can just repeat these. And I can say to something like, how do you be wealthy? Give away 10% of your wealth, save 10% of your wealth, tell your money where to go. You could ask my kids today, how do you do great things? And how do you live a wealthy life? And they're going to spit that out. I'm brainwashing it. It's a message over and over and over. And I'm constantly, at least I'm trying to, constantly tell them they can do anything. Now, I know they can't. My kids are probably never going to go be professional athletes. They're probably never going to, I don't know, name something that they probably can't actually do. But you know what? That's not my job to tell them what they can or can't do. I'm going to encourage them to try as hard as they can. Don't be afraid to fail. And that if they try hard enough, they can accomplish the thing that they want to. The world will knock them down. The world will push them down and reality will set in and they'll go, okay, this is probably not going to work out for me. But that's not my job. If they say, you know, I really want to be an NBA basketball player, even though they're only going to be, 5'10", let's go. Let's go to practice. Let's go to work. Let's start working out. It can't hurt, right? Unless, maybe it could if they're very delusional and not actually going to practice. They just want to be it. But help them. Tell them anything is possible and then help them do those impossible things. And I think if you can build that up into your kid's life, it's the best gift they'll ever have. That idea that, my parents aren't perfect, that my name means something and that I'm creating a legacy and that is part of who I am. And maybe where you came from, maybe you're not proud of your legacy. Maybe, the way your family was is bad. What's awesome with you as a husband and a father is you can change that. You can tell them the kind of family you want to be. You can tell them the family you're going to be. And if you need help doing that, I want to help you. You want to get some accountability so that maybe you haven't been honest your whole life. Maybe you've had a temper and it gets away from you. If you need help with that, please reach out to me. My email is danny@dannydumas.com. And I want to help. I want to help men become better husbands, fathers, and leaders. That is the mission. That is the goal of this podcast. I appreciate you listening to this. As I always end it, my name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast, and I will talk to you later.